Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. Coming to you from a different location this evening. Unfortunately, the green room or the chat room that you guys are so familiar with. Unfortunately, I'm having internet as well as power outage issues, and so I've been allowed to so graciously broadcast from the backyard of a dear friend's home. Let's look at the beautiful flowers I have in the background. I do apologize for being so dark on the screen tonight. We've tried several different lighting combinations and nothing has worked as of yet. But don't worry about it. I have another great show planned for your viewing and listening pleasure this evening. Well, today was the day. Presidential candidate, Democratic presidential candidate, Mr. Joe Biden announced yesterday who his running mate would be. And today we got a chance to meet both candidates. As you guys all know, California Senator Kamala Harris has been his choice of running mate. And so today, Joe Biden delivered a powerful speech about the state of our country, some of the things that he would like to see for our future. And then he introduced the first African American and the first Asian American woman to run for the office of vice president. And she'll hold the second highest office in the United States if they are elected November 2nd of 2020. And then in January, they'd be sworn in. So tonight on the show, we're going to talk about who is Kamala Harris, what is her background. We'll talk about some of the pros and cons. We'll even talk about some of the hatred that's been out there on social media. And then later on in the show, for those of you all that may have high school students, we have a mother who is an educator, and she's the mom of a recent 2020 graduate who will be joining us tonight to talk about what does it actually take to get your child into a major university or college. It's not as easy as most of you think, and so she's been working diligently to make this all happen, and she'll share her secrets and tricks to what does it take to get a child into college. You'll love the resources that she's going to share with you guys. Well, our co-host tonight is none other than Alicia L. Ross. As you guys all know, she's an educator, she's a researcher, and she's in her final stages of becoming a doctor in education. And so we're honored to have her here with us tonight. We call her the master researcher. And who better to help with tonight's show to talk about Kamala Harris, what could be our future vice president, first African American female as well as Asian American female. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, my girl, Miss Alicia L. Ross. How are you? Hey.
Hi, hey, how are you? It's good to be back.
I'm glad to have you back, my dear. It's an honor and a pleasure. Lord knows I've been through enough things in the last 24 hours. Last night, as we were wrapping up the show, we had a wonderful guest on with us last night. And all of a sudden, my computer, everybody started spinning. And the whole computer just died mid-show. And I'm going, oh my God. So I'm thinking I've lost the guest. I'm thinking I've lost my co-host last night. So we are steady I'm trying to text and call them, not knowing that their Wi-Fi was still connected. My co-host ended up finishing out the interview with the guest. He did an incredible job. Thank you, Maurice Miles. You did a wonderful job last night. And it was me who did not have Wi-Fi last night, and I still do not have Wi-Fi in my place of residency. So I'm actually doing the backyard show tonight. Isn't that something?
That is something, but I like the backyard view. It looks very nice. The flowers, the sky, very good.
But
sometimes we have to change it up. Sometimes we have to change it up.
That's right. That's right. We're getting into the studio soon anyway, too. So it's all good. So do me a favor, for those that do not know your background, who you are, where you're from, since you're a co-host tonight, this is your moment to shine. So let everybody know what they need to know about the amazing. See, I'm calling you Dr. Ross because I'm claiming it. So it's going to happen. Your research that you've been doing is incredible. Go right ahead. The floor is all yours.
Well, I am grateful to be here. I really love and adore Chat and appreciate how he and I and Carol met him last summer Was it this time, or we have about a month to
We
go?
still have about a month to go. It was the
We have,
closing show of Ravinia.
right. It was a closing show of Ravinia, and it was an amazing time. I can't tell you much about the show
Right.
because we were running late, we got there late, but that's how we met Chad. So everything works out for a reason. But as Chat mentioned, I am an educator. Some may say I've been going to school for a long time, but you never stop, you never give up. That's why I look forward to our conversation later on with Ms. Holmes regarding her experience with her daughter in college and university research and finding the right place. And I am in my final stages. I look forward to finishing up very soon and receiving my doctorate in education. And just grateful for the journey, because it's also the journey that helps in the process of developing self and just learning all kinds of things. Because, yes, I do love to research. My thing is, if you tell me something, I'm going to look it up, because I need to check the facts. Now, I know Google sometimes has some things that are sketchy out there, but I do like to check the facts as best as possible. And I'm up here just north of Chicago, and originally from Long Island, New York. And just proud to call Chicago my home. Actually was born here, technically, but I grew up in Long Island, New York. So I appreciate Long Island. I appreciate, of course, New York. I am still a New Yorker, of course, once a New Yorker, always New Yorker, but I definitely obviously claim Chicago my home as well.
Are you kidding me? We hear that New York accent. Are you kidding me?
It comes out when you start talking about New York, like I'm doing right now. It starts coming out because, you know, I'm talking about it, right?
Right. You sound like you should be saying, "Get out of here, you guys."
Yeah, you guys.
Right. You know what I love about people from Long Island? I love Long Island. I told you I spent, quite a few days there. Southampton,
Yeah.
the Hamptons, Ronkonkoma.
Just right. You're down the road from me, Ronkonkoma.
Exactly. And the one thing that I love about people from Long Island, you guys are a different breed of people. You know what I'm saying? And when I say just great, hearty people, very astute people, I love my friends that are from Long Island. You find very few African Americans, though, that were born and raised on Long Island.
Oh, definitely. I mean, now you have generations, you know, like some of my friends and their children, those who have stayed. But when I was growing up, and then also, you know, my parents, my aunts and uncles, what happened is you had this migration. And we talked about this on the radio show last year. You have this migration from the city, which of course that migration came from the South. And our South is the Southeast, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. But you have the migration from the city to Long Island. And so, yeah, back then, not too many of us were actually born in Long Island.
Yeah, I love it when I meet somebody Black from Long Island. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
do you get back to Long Island very often?
You know what? I have not, because most of I do have family there. And some of my friends are there. I was there about 2 years ago. And that was my first time back in a long time. Not that I don't see my family. I would just see them at different family functions, reunions, holidays, and so forth. But when I went back, it was amazing. I enjoyed and actually, I think that year I was in New York, I think about 4 times. Yeah.
Wow.
For different reasons. Yeah, different reasons. But and it's always a good time. I love home. I love New York.
Very good. Well, I'm glad to have you back with us tonight. Yesterday when we heard the news that Kamala Harris had been selected as the VP choice for the Democratic ticket, I instantly hit you up like, listen, I need you to do as much research as possible. I need for you to talk to us tonight, and we're going to go through the pros and cons of her career. She's been selected, but, a lot of people are saying that, Biden and Harris may not be their ultimate choice, but we've got to do something compared to what we already have in place. And after the wonderful speech that both of them gave today, and when I said wonderful speech, they quoted facts, they quoted figures, and they quoted some things that could be what I consider solutions to help us to move forward. And so,
Yeah.
what did you think of today's speech?
I thought today's speech was endearing. I think that's the word that I will use. I appreciate, when Biden mentioned that Mrs. Harris, Kamala, that she has been a part of, the family fabric, if you will, for a long time when she was associated with his son, Beau, when they were working together for several years. So I appreciated that endearment because, of course, some of the backlash at large is, people remembering the time when she quote unquote lashed out at him during her campaign as she was trying to be, vetted to be selected as a nominee.
Right.
So, and then therefore I appreciate the fact that she, looped into his comments and, and was very specific about the fact how close she was to his son from a working relationship and how much she appreciated, him. So that I think what that did for those who have been talking out against her, specifically as it related to her quote unquote lashing out at him, stating some facts, that from his past, I think that helped people to understand, that we're not going to always agree with our friends, our family, and our close colleagues. But there is a time when we have a foundation that we agree upon and we can come together. And I think that that is what we saw in their speeches. And I like the fact that it wasn't long, winded, for example, it just went straight to the point as you referenced, talking about the facts and the figures and then projecting what they would do. And then also being very real about, we needed them to say something about the fact that we're still in a pandemic. What would you do? What do you see? And what are you going to project to do, as you move forward and we move forward as a country?
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. And what you saying that we're still in a pandemic, we want to remind everyone the importance of wearing your mask. Get that mask, you guys. You see my mask, match my outfit as always. So make sure you get your mask. Make sure you are doing that. Make sure you're washing your hands as often as possible as you can. If you cannot wash your hands, make sure you sanitize. I carry a bottle of sanitizer around in my bag everywhere I go. Some of that sanitizer in your hand. Remember to social distance. Excuse me, whenever you can. Also, keep your house clean and also keep your health up. Take some vitamins, whatever you can, to help your immune system. And so we definitely want to remind everybody of that. And with that being said, Alicia, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about the current Illinois COVID update numbers, if we could.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to remind everyone that today the Illinois public health officials announced that we have 1,645 new COVID-19 cases. Unfortunately, we have 16 additional fatalities. The state has now reported that we have 198,593 cases overall, and we have 7,672 confirmed deaths here in the state of Illinois. Now, the one good thing is that our numbers were not as high today of new cases. It has gone down quite a bit, but we still need to get it down lower than what it is. And we do want to remind everybody to please just follow the guidelines. I've been out and I've seen some people that want to have the mask down here. Right. Your chin ain't got nothing to do with this. Some of y'all want to have a mask hanging off your lower lip. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Some of y'all want to wear it down like this. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Wear your mask and do the right things. It's important that we do this to stay healthy and safe. Correct?
Correct. I agree. And I think, what is our percentage? Is it 4.9%?
Yes.
Just looking at that dangerous 5%, but still it's a 4 point anything, and if we continue to take, the steps that we need to do. I was watching CDC and it was interesting, or CNN, and they were talking about the mask and just emphasizing what you were just saying. We need to make sure we're wearing it appropriately. Cover your nose and your mouth, and if you can have a couple of layers in your mask, exactly,
Right.
your nose and your mouth,
Right.
and we have to continue
Oh
to
my God.
that looks the new fashion. And if we continue to, if we do this, then we will continue to help stop the spread. But unfortunately, as I was reading today, I think I don't remember what area in Florida, but there was a sheriff who mentioned that he is stating that people cannot come into his office wearing masks, and there will be some type of small penalty. Exactly.
Why is that? What is that all about? Again, we're trying to fight a virus, a pandemic at that. So
Right.
what is his reasoning for that?
The thing is, we still have people around the country who do not believe that this is serious. We still have people around the country who think it's some kind of conspiracy theory. And unfortunately, they're following certain leaders who have projected that in the beginning, and they're holding on to that thought, those thoughts and those notions. I mean, we have issues still here in Illinois. Our city government, townsmen and townswomen, here in my area, they're constantly talking, please put on your mask, because in these counties up here, they are some of the highest rates of COVID infected individuals. And that includes teenagers.
Right.
That includes young people.
Yes.
And so that is the other thing that we want to tell people is, it's, again, this is not about Black, white, Latino. It is not about that or the elderly. It's about everyone. If you have an issue, yes, you have to be extra careful, but you can have an issue at any age as far as a health-related concern. Right. But the main thing is we have to help each other by doing everything that we need to do, whether you're a teenager, a young adult, middle age or elder. We have to continue to take the steps that we have to take. Look at New Zealand. Although they have I think it was 4 new cases, but they were 108 days. There were no reported cases of COVID-19. New Zealand, which is led by a female president, just to put that plugger in there.
Yeah.
The thing is that there are countries around the world who have slowed this thing down and or quote unquote stopped it to a certain degree as far as reported cases are concerned. And it's really, really sad that we have not done what we can do. And so we have to continue to do what we need to do, everyone. We have to listen to the guidelines. As you mentioned, Art, the sanitizer, the hand washing, if not hand washing. Right, sanitizer. Take your sanitizer with you. They're absolutely everywhere. Or you can figure out how to make it, with home products. Go online and figure that out. Wear a protective mask. One that helps. Right. This is a former flight attendant.
Yeah, I know how to put mask on quick now, but yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that.
Let me show you something that I've also mastered as well too. A lot of times I'll run out the house and forget to grab one of these, right? Because no one is thinking we need to wear these masks all the time, right? So what I did, I found me a little pouch that I use on my keychain, and with inside this pouch, there's a mask. There's a mask.
Very clever.
If I run out of a mask, I have a mask to put on.
Very clever. Nice.
Then I just fold it back up and put it back in my keychain. And then that way I'm never without a mask. Because here's the deal. I hope to have my keys everywhere I go. So that's, yes, absolutely. So
that's smart. I like that. I'm going to have to do something like that and keep them with me.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It's, we're just getting used to wearing this, and hopefully won't have to be used to it for a long, long time. But we will run out of the house and say, wait, oh, I forgot my mask. And we're already at the store, almost at the store down the street.
Yes. Also, I keep disposable masks inside my glove compartment.
Yeah.
The ones that are the individual ones, you can put them in Ziploc bags if they're not individually wrapped. Keep it in over your visor. A lot of people have been hanging them. Now, another thing too, you guys, when these masks get nasty and dirty, it's time for you to get rid of them. I'm telling you now. I told you, I saw a white man the other week. The straps on his mask was the color of my skin. And I'm like, Lord knows this man has not changed his mask during this whole pandemic. So that's why you got to be very, very careful of what you need to do with wearing these masks and making sure they're clean and sanitized.
Exactly. I mean, and you can wash them. I think what they say is if you wear them a total of 8 hours, meaning a lot of people are not out a whole day, 8 hours, because they're at home working. But if you wear them a total of 8 hours or a day, then you can bring it home and wash it by hand. Right. They say the best thing to do is wash it by hand, just wash it in the sink and then hang it up. Don't put it in a plastic bag, when it's wet. But when it's dry, definitely, because I do the same thing in my car. But wash it by hand and then just hang it up at the shower, so it can air dry, and then it'll be ready for the next day.
Well, another thing that people can do, especially with the paper mask, is just take a little bit of Lysol. Now, we're not trying to drench it, but you just want to do a quick spray, hold it a few feet away from you, do a quick spray on this side, a quick spray on that side, and let it air dry. And at least that Lysol will help kill some of the germs and bacteria that's on it. And at least when you put it back on, it's minty fresh or piney fresh or whatever, whatever the case may be.
At least a little bit for another day of use. Exactly.
That's right. And there are plenty of places that are handing out masks now. A lot of times when you go to these big box hardware stores, they're selling them for 89 cents, maybe $1, whatever the case may be. And if you can buy a $10 or $12 pack of cigarettes, you definitely can buy yourself a new fresh mask so that you're able to breathe and be compliant with what is going on right now.
And help save yourself.
That's right. All right. Well, as we move on in top news stories of the day, believe it or not, more than 5,000 Illinois restaurants have closed due to the pandemic, and they're not doing enough business or customers or restaurants that were not able to pivot during this. As the Chicago patio season will be coming to an end very soon, Sam Poya, president and CEO of the Illinois Restaurant Association, recently spoke to a group of people, and he's asking that some concessions will be made that people would be able to still dine outdoors if restaurants were to have heaters, provide blankets, maybe tent their spaces. We've seen that along the Chicago River where they had the tents and it kind of drag out the outdoor dining season, because really, to be honest with you, by the time we get to the end of September, early October, nobody's going to really want to sit outside unless it's heated, tented, that type of situation. So what do you think about that entire situation?
I know, as you mentioned, we do have restaurants that provide the tents and the heating. I know I've been to a restaurant where they had the heaters, they had the tents, the tent coverings, and they also provided blankets.
Right.
So there are things that we can do in these environments, like in Illinois, Chicagoland area, where it does get cooler, going towards October. So I think if they could do that, and if there are resources out there that can help provide those, their financial resources that can help provide for those physical resources at those restaurants, I really hope that the city will be able to do that. The state will be able to do that, not just here, but in other states also who may be facing some of the same things. For example, New York, but other states that are coming upon, the change of seasons with this autumn. You have the change of seasons, change of temperature. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And maybe I can extend somewhere into October, and provide more business to these restaurants.
Yes, well, we wish all of our restaurateurs the best. I've been trying to support as many restaurants as possible. You and Carol and I had a beautiful lunch at Truth. It was a brunch. It was more of a brunch. Last Thursday, wasn't it? Last Thursday, we went to Truth. And we supported a Black-owned restaurant on 39th Street in Chicago. And I really would love to see more Black-owned restaurants be able to have al fresco dining. But oftentimes, they don't have the space. They don't have the manpower or the enough equipment to be able to set up al fresco dining. But I just think it's the most unique thing ever. I love it. I have a friend of mine that says, listen, when I go to a restaurant, I need the whole indoor restaurant ambiance and experience. I can live. I need to get outside. I need Mother Nature and natural air.
Exactly. Especially in this environment. Right.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, as we continue to move on in our news this evening, we have a wonderful news story that we want to share. A North Carolina woman celebrated her 100th birthday over the weekend. We want to shout out Miss Julia Lee Kelly. Miss Julia Lee Kelly has lived through 6 generations of her family. Now, let me run this down to you guys. She has 30 grandchildren. She has 88 great-grandchildren. She has 49 great-great-grandchildren, and she has 1 great-great-great-grandchild. Now, you're talking about bragging rights. I don't know if many people can have those type of bragging rights. Isn't that amazing?
That is absolutely amazing. That is so much love generated in one family.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. That is amazing.
Yeah.
The stories that the great grandchild will be able to say, I was here when my great grandmother was still living, and we celebrated birthdays. I think that's amazing.
I do too. Because of COVID-19, the family normally holds their family reunion around her birthday every year. But because of COVID-19, they had to do a drive-through celebration to celebrate her 100th birthday. But their family reunion would normally be during this time period. And I just think that's the most heartwarming story with all the things that we have going on in the world right now. A heartwarming story is what we need. And I just think that's so beautiful.
That is so beautiful. And it's funny, as you're saying family reunion, I'm thinking cousins and aunties and uncles, but they don't need the cousins, aunties, and uncles. They just need the kids, the grandkids, and the great-great-grandkids.
Right. Exactly.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm glad she enjoyed it. I'm sure they visit her, whoever can, in the best way they can during this time, this season we're in. So that's awesome.
So I pose this question to our audience. If there's anybody in our audience that has a family history like that the great, there's a great-great-grandchild at this point, I would love to talk to those people about that, because that is really special, because that's not something many people can brag about, that, the great-great-great-grandchild was able to partake and be a part of. And that's just beautiful. It really is. It really is.
Beautiful. Yeah. It is really beautiful. And I can't imagine all of the pictures that they take, even before now at 99, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
So all the pictures they've been taking, over the past 10 years alone, for example, with all of the different family members, that's priceless. That is priceless. Yeah. I'd love to hear about other families, and other centenarians who have families like this. It's amazing. Or just other centenarians, period.
Yeah.
Who are You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, we do wish you a very happy birthday, Miss Julia Lee Kelly. May God bless you with many more birthdays. That is just so incredible for you to be able to have had a great, great, great grandchild at
Yeah.
your birthday celebration. And we hate that this pandemic is going on, but we
Yeah.
just think it's beautiful that you lived this far and this long, that your family's able to celebrate. And people are giving a lot of hearts and loves on my Facebook page about that. That is a great story. All right. Before we move on to our next subject, is there anything in the news you want to talk about today, in particular, Dr. Ross?
Well, I don't know if you want to touch on our cousin from Chicago,
Which cousin, honey?
but Kanye West.
Oh, honey, what is our cousin doing now? Sometimes I forget he our cousin. Some days I claim him, other days I just let him go. What's the latest that our cousin Kanye is doing?
Well, see, that's the thing, to touch on what he, claiming him. I think that's one of the biggest things is him knowing that he has an extended family, whoever is close to him here in Chicagoland or, and elsewhere, that I think he needs to continue to know and be reminded that he has this extended family, here in Chicago. My thought at one time was, okay, Kim, just send him on home. Let us just take care of him for a little bit. We'll send him back, but he just needs a little bit of help, because what they're saying is, of course, about him putting in his bid, and he is continuously, trying to have states, to sign up as a candidate, an independent candidate for president. But now he is facing some type of voter fraud or election fraud or candidate fraud, all of the above. And, and the other thing is that what's happening is he's, the word is that, yes, he or whomever is backing is trying to pull votes from the Biden campaign for those who are, who will be voting for Biden Harris.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's a confusion type of thing. It's confusion that's going on. My thing is, okay, your music is really good, and yes, you are really, great at what you do as far as music is concerned, being a creative genius, if you will, as you call yourself, Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
But let's leave this arena to the people that are trying to take care of it.
Absolutely. Yes. Here's the deal. I feel there's a time and place for everything with Kanye West. He's become a famous designer. He's an accomplished, musician, artist, like no other. We cannot take that away from him. He's become a dad. He's married into a really powerful family. And here's the deal. Not that I would have anything against Kanye, but I would love for him to learn leadership a little bit more. I would want him to have some type of training about diplomacy, some training about foreign issues, not just an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, just like everybody got a poopy hole. Everybody got an opinion. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing is that I just wish that he would expand himself a little bit more. And, it was some conversation about, his being bipolar, and we really shouldn't make fun of that. No, we should not. He has an invisible disability or an acquired disability. And, I'm a huge advocate of people with disabilities, but I also want him to be a little bit more sharper in his presentation and his knowledge of world affairs and issues. So that's why he would not be a contender for president for me.
Right. And I agree. Exactly. When you think about it from a perspective of, are we seriously considering this? Then those are the things that you have to consider what are your leadership skills? What is the history of your leadership skills?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is your international understanding of international relations?
Right.
You know, and how is it that you have been able to run the businesses that you have? Maybe those should be highlighted more, because he is running business, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has been doing so effectively. So how is it that you've been able to do this, you know, and lead in those aspects? Let's hear about that. So yes, it would take a lot more for him to be considered seriously as a candidate, no matter what party he chooses to run with.
Right. Very good. All right. Very good. I love that. Great feedback. Great points of view on that. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am Chat Daddy. I'm coming to you from an outdoor location this evening, a tranquil garden. A tranquil garden. You all that are just tuning in. Unfortunately, I've been dealing with a Wi-Fi outage again, and my electricity has been going on and off. As you guys all know, Chicago suffered a major storm on Monday night, and there are still thousands and thousands of people who are without electricity right now. So I won't complain. I've been given the opportunity to do the show tonight from the backyard of a dear friend, and I appreciate have given this choice to do the show. I didn't want to cancel tonight's show because we just have so many great shows planned for the next night as well as next week that we've got to continue the momentum of the show. And I appreciate you guys, my listening and viewing audience. Dr. I keep saying it, but I'm claiming it. Alicia L. Ross is with us tonight. She's an educator and a master researcher. And so as we move on with tonight's show, we're talking about next, who is Kamala Harris? Where did she come from? I do know she was born in Oakland, California. She was born, her dad was of Jamaican descent. Her mom was Indian, of the Indian descent, Asian Indian descent. She went to Howard University. She pledged Alpha Kappa Alpha, aka. Other than that, I know she's had an illustrious career. I know she's 55 years old. She's a stepmom. She's adulting auntie and godmom. But Alicia, what else do we need to know on the good side about her? And then we'll get into the mudslinging later. So that's what I know about Kamala Harris. What do you know about her?
Right. And those are the things that I've learned over, you know, the past few years about her. And then, of course, more recently, some of the things I think that were interesting, being a stepmom, she calls herself Mamala. I know she mentioned that today when she was speaking. I think that's the cutest thing. And not right. And not just for her stepchildren, but her nieces and nephew. I thought that was really cute. But even, you know, one of the things that I also learned about her children is her stepchildren, her husband and his children's mom. They named their two children after two jazz artists. So the daughter is named Ella after Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
And the son is called Cole after John Coltrane.
Yes. Yes.
I thought that was so adorable, right?
Yes.
It lends a lot.
But now wait, let me throw this in there, and you're gonna have to put it on our list of things to talk about later. Folks hating on her because she married to a white man. So we'll just add that to our list of on the hateful side. Right now, we want to talk about the positive things. I digress. Continue with your conversation.
Well, but you know what, Art? That's why I mentioned that, you know, and I mentioned the fact that his children's mom and he came to a consensus to name their children, you know, after two Black jazz artists, right? So this happened way before Kamala was in the picture. Okay, so that says a lot about who her husband is, and he is a Jewish man, actually. So, you know, so some of the other things that I think is great, you know, adding to who she is, as far as her background, being an East Indian woman, being a woman of Jamaican descent, being born and raised in Oakland, California. as someone who has who comes from an international background, who researches, international studies, relations, education, I think that's amazing.
I do
right?
too.
I think it's absolutely amazing. And then just in general, the fact that, this is the United States of America. And as we've talked several times, you, I, and Carol, we are a country of immigrants, as everyone knows, actually, once they sit down and acknowledge it. And that is who she is. And so therefore, that is whom she can speak to, in addition to being, yes, an East Indian woman, and then also being a Jamaican, a woman of Jamaican descent, a Jamaican woman. But that does therefore make her a Black American, right? It makes her Black American. It makes her African American because her father has African roots. As he even talked about, I think it was in 2016, he talked about his ancestry and his slave, his descendants of being a slave. And I think reference who the slave owner was. That's how much research he has done on his African side, right? And so I just think, when you start learning more about who she is, personally and therefore socially, you start to realize her makeup is so intricate and so detailed, but it's a part of who we are as American people.
Well, she received her law degree from Hastings College of Law. She began her career at the Alameda County District Attorney's Office before being recruited to the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. Later, the City Attorney of San Francisco's office. And in 2003, she was elected the 27th District Attorney of San Francisco, serving until 2011. Harris was narrowly elected Attorney General of California in 2010 and was re-elected in 2014. And so she had quite an impressive law degree background or law background to associate with her degree. I just find it interesting. She's been on the steady climb and people do love her. She ended up winning more places the last go round than Hillary was able to do. And so as a Black woman, do you think that our country is ready for her, or do you think it's still going to be quite a bit of backlash, seeing that we're living in such racially turbulent times right now?
I think we're 100% ready for her. I think because of what has happened this summer alone, which is a reflection of what has been happening for years, it's just becoming more and more public, and people are standing up, standing out. The youth have been really mobilizing people of all ages. They've been mobilizing people around the country and around the world. And therefore, when you think about the world platform, people are looking to us to get better, right? They're looking to us to say, listen, the UN tried to bring up your human rights issues as it related to racism several years ago. It is time to resolve your racist issues because it is more on the forefront now than it has been in a very long time, and maybe than ever before because of the fact we have the internet. So, it is seen all over the world what is happening here in our country and in our society. So not only are we ready, but the world is ready for us to change. The world is ready for us to say, okay, you know what? Perhaps what happened with 45 is what was meant to happen. I remember when his appointed our quote unquote religious leader, Pastor White, Paula White, mentioned in the beginning of the campaign in 2016, 2015, that he was here for an appointed time. This is his appointed time. Well, Pastor White, I agree with you.
Right.
Because what he has done, he and the people who are associated with him directly, and then those who are supporting him in various different states, is bring out this racial behavior that has been, some of us have experienced it directly continuously, but some, it's just been simmering. It's just been sitting there. Mm-hmm. So it is time for someone to come and say, enough, stop. And they won't be saying it just to say, and when they say it, people can't say, oh, they're just talking that race stuff again, that mm-hmm. Black stuff, or that, people of color stuff. No, they can't say that anymore, because everything is documented. And that's why there are states that are making laws to change some of these racial behaviors in various different sectors, from education, to policing and so forth, in various different states, as a result of what's been happening this summer. So are they ready? They're ready. And those who are not,
get ready. They better get ready. As we say in the hood, you better get ready, boo-boo. You better get ready. You better get ready for your cousin Kamala Harris. You better get ready. Right. I thought it was very touching today. I thought both of them, their speech was great. Joe Biden is 77 years old. She's 55 years old. So if anything, she can bring that young breath of fresh air to the campaign. She can let Joe know a few things that he may not be hip enough to know. But I think it's a good ticket. I look at it like this: either you will or you won't, either you do or you don't. And the thing is, I want everybody to do their due diligence, do your research, figure out who you feel would be the best candidate. Keep in mind, our unemployment rate is just ridiculous. For those of you that are getting unemployment benefits, I'm sure you got that check last week and this week. Kibbles and bits is what you got. And again, we're still in the midst of a global pandemic. People are not working. I just saw on the world news today where students have gone back to school in many places. In Louisiana, they had to close the school back down. In Georgia, they've had to close the school back down. So things are not on the getting better level yet. Still, and keep in mind, this is still not flu season yet either.
Right, exactly. And that's what those of us who are educators, we're saying. We're like, we as educators and parents know that once September and October come, that is it. That is the flu season. So you're going to have the flu season impacted by COVID-19. No, you cannot go. My opinion, you cannot go into the schools. If you have these large school districts, like some of the ones that are referenced in Georgia, Gwinnett County, and then even some of the north suburban school districts here in Illinois, just above Chicago. If you have these large school districts, meaning numbers of 3,000, 4,000 people in a building, there is no way that you can possibly conceive going back into the building at this time.
Right.
No, we're not saying we want the numbers. We're saying, the numbers are going to keep going up. We're not projecting that, but they will if they go into buildings. So why don't we do what we can to keep them low and hopefully just deal with this thing once and for all?
I love it. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, now I want to talk about the negative side of Kamala Harris. And by no means are we trying to pick on her. By no means are we trying to belittle or compromise the campaign in any particular way. But with us being a reality news entertainment show, you do have to bring up the other sides of things. And maybe as the campaign goes on, people will question her, or we'll find out what the end results of each problem was, what the end result will be. Now, here's a couple of things that I found out: that she declined to advocate for the legalization of marijuana in California. And keep in mind that Black people are arrested at a much higher rate than any other skin color of people. So she did not do that. She also did not support body cameras for police, while simultaneously opposing legislation that would require her officers to independently investigate police shootings. And so that's a mark against her. A lot of people are saying she is even a defendant of the three-strike law. And as we all know, Black people are more incarcerated than anybody, 12 times higher than whites. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know if it was the position she was in at the time or, what the deal might be.
I think there are several things. Yes, she is a law enforcing person from what we see of her record and what we hear of her record. There are things, I'm sure, as she was being supervised, that she was led to instill within the communities, or enforce, I should say. And then we have to actually fact check some of those things, in particular as it relates to the cases with marijuana, because there's on the other hand, some people are saying that she actually was one of the ones that said that she did not want to have continued arrests for people who had marijuana offense on a lesser scale, I should say.
Mhm.
So there are varying degrees of information out there. And as you referenced, we will know more about what the truth is when she gets to the stage. Hopefully, she will have to shed a light on these things that are being brought up, because it's true. These are the things that people are saying within the Black community in particular. They're saying, well, her record as far as, putting people in jail, and as you reference, Art, are mostly it's just disproportionate as far as who the people that go to jail are, and they are mostly the African Americans. So when you talk about what her policing and her police enforcement has been over the years, yes, therefore you are going to think, okay, she wasn't really for the Black community. But I think we need to look a little deeper. I think we need to do more fact checking. Also think about what was going on during that time in San Francisco, Oakland areas. And yes, as Marguerite said, she has apologized for all of that, but we do need to hear more specifics, because there are some things that's not 100% clear. And the other thing is, just like we have looked at Biden, or we have forgiven Clinton, for the things that he did when he was one of the ones that, has disproportionately, put African Americans in prisons during his term. People still went out in droves, Black women specifically, to vote for Hillary Clinton, right? Who was a part of that fabric during that time. So, and then, as Kamala has pointed out, Joe Biden has had some issues as far, within the Black community during his tenure in political office throughout the years, and that was many years ago. So people are willing to forgive these people and to press forward, but they want to continuously highlight. And yes, we should highlight. We should point out these discrepancies in the record, and we should say, okay, what exactly did she do, and why did she do it? And if she's wrong, she's wrong. But if there's something else, there's something else. I'm not dismissing it at all. But what I'm saying is, if we're gonna, do a pardon and forgiveness for some of these other people, then we can be so hard on our own, which is fine to a certain degree, but not when you're going up against who the alternative would be for our next presidency.
Yes. Okay. Well said. I do want to take a moment and acknowledge all the haters that have been logging on and making really foul and illicit comments on my page. This is not that type of show. I do not have time for racism and ignorance on this show. Please keep in mind that I'm friends with people of all walks of life. I have nothing against any particular color of person. I love all types of people, but I will not tolerate negative and nasty comments coming in the inbox. And yes, you will be blocked. This is a show to uplift, educate, and inspire people. So take all the negative ass comments to your mama. Don't bring them on this show. Okay? Moving on. All right. With that being said, Kamala Harris has been a prosecutor. She has been the Attorney General of the state of California. She is a U.S. Senator. She's actually run for president. And now she's in line to be the next vice president of the United States of America. And so, I mean, again, we're not trying to pour salt on her. We're just trying to do what is necessary to let people figure out for themselves the pros and cons of, what's going on. And this is going to happen. We're not the only ones that are doing this. Keep in mind, like the haters have come on my page tonight and thought they was going to get away and thought I was going to post that mess. Y'all sit down somewhere. Everybody deserves their own opinion and comment about this situation. All right. Madam, what else we need to talk about, darling?
Well, actually, I want to comment on that. As I was looking on my Facebook today, I saw some of my Facebook friends commenting about some of the comments they received. And they've had to block so many people since last night.
Honey.
And make all of the statements, similar to what you just made. But you know what? Okay. We're going to handle it. We're going to block you. You have these opinions. We're not surprised. We're not surprised at all. We just hope that as time goes on, that you will learn, you will grow, you will mature, and you'll understand that this is a country of mixed race, mixed ethnic people, and therefore a country that is built on immigrants, both those stolen and then those who opted to come here. Mm-hmm. And that is who Kamala represents, as well as several other people who are in political office, both federally, locally, statewide. So it's going to happen. And yes, we do need to do our due diligence to block them. But I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something.
Now, I do need to say this, and you and I talked about this before the show started tonight. There was a lot of hatred coming from Black women.
Yeah.
Then there were a lot of Black women that were saying they didn't know that as many Black men detest Black women. And so, again, this is what we've been talking about with the whole crab in the barrel thing, the whole why are we so hateful towards each other, to the point that I even see a whole spinoff of shows of us just talking about our hatred. It almost went to good hair, bad hair, light skin versus dark, AKA versus, and to me, all that's a crock of SHIT. We need to be as one. As one is what we need to be.
Right. And what you're saying, trying to see if I have a paper bag. I was going to try to do the paper bag test and then get into it, but we'll talk about that another day. And the paper bag test, just for those who don't know, is when, sororities years ago and other, people would test people of color and see how dark they were based on the color. If they were darker than the paper bag, then they weren't accepted. But if they were the colored paper bag and lighter, then they were accepted. Listen, Art, you and I and Carol have talked about this. This is colorism. And actually, I have seen comments. I've seen some men, as I was perusing through people's, the Facebook comments, on trying to understand what people's feedback are. Some men actually are saying, well, she's good. She looks good on the eyes. What does that mean? What does that mean? And that was more than one comment that I saw. Well, we know what that means, right? When you look at the other candidates, okay, with the exception of maybe Susan Rice, who is her complexion, or maybe even lighter, actually, but she has the complexion, she has the hair. Okay, she's East Indian, she's Jamaican, you know, I mean, she is going to have some type of mixture and some kind of look. Look at her sister Maya. Yes, her sister Maya Harris on MSNBC. She looks a little different, but that's what happens.
Right.
We are people of color, and what that means is we are different colors.
Right.
We're different hues, you know, and there are people who are educated on different levels, and we need to understand and receive that. It is nothing. The darker the berry, the sweeter the tea.
Right.
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 We talked about that. You need to go
We
look at it.
did. We did. Yeah.
Because
That's why I try to stay a juicy berry. That's why I really try to stay juicy.
okay, you know what? But you know, that's the thing. This is all in jest right now, but these are things that people still have in their mind.
Right.
People are still saying, well, he chose her because of the color of her skin and because of, you know, the length of her hair. No. Yes, people are therefore saying that Susan Rice would have, some people are saying Susan Rice would have been a better candidate. Well, you have to look at everyone's record. Yes, Susan Rice has an exceptional international experience, and then therefore other experiences when she was with the Obama administration, and it was great, right? To a degree. But we also know there are some other things there, but there are things, isms and issues in everyone's record, you know, who are in the public eye in particular, and then all of us who are in the private eye. But Black women, stop.
Yes.
Stop.
Stop.
You have to stop the colorism issue.
Stop.
Stop judging ourselves. And these, you know, the sororities. I have sorority. I have people who in my family who are AKAs, who are deltas. I have friends who are AKAs, deltas, zetas. You know, and the thing is that we have to not allow ourselves to separate ourselves, because if we focus on all of this going forward, then we're not going to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish, which is setting forth, helping to set forth an agenda, not just for the election, but the election and beyond. Because again, we are the United States and we need to get united, and we need to fix as much as we possibly can in our society so that we can become a part of the global community on a positive in a positive way. You know, we need to be able to bring in our allies again. We need to be able to create more allies, right? And the way that we're going to do it is with someone who seems to be astute, but call her on the issues, like the things we were just talking about.
Right.
This is still a quote unquote land of the free. Call her on those issues so she can address them moving forward. And if you have any isms, get them out now, but please don't carry them to the polls or to the mailbox, right?
So here's the deal. Right. You made a great point. I appreciate you for that. So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. You know, election day is what, November 2nd, 3rd, November 3rd. Okay. So I shorted it a day.
That's right. You got to get it in early.
You guys, we've got to get together. We've got to galvanize. You know who the candidates are. There is no other choice. You cannot be going to the polling place talking about eeny, meeny, miny, mo. This is not that type of game. You need to really, if you're in support of Biden and Harris, then you need to move forward and do what's necessary to make sure that this election goes the way it needs to go. If you're in support of the other candidate, then you already know what you need to do. But now more than ever, we really need to stand up and do what's necessary so that this election is won.
Exactly. And remember what you did with Hillary Clinton, who wasn't your color, speaking to the women of color, the Black women in particular.
Right.
You went out in droves. You had parties. You had all kinds of things. What are you doing? Pull it together, y'all. Pull it together. This is someone who is a woman of color. And yes, she is an African American. She is a Jamaican American. She is an East Indian American. So, and she's married to a Jewish man. Pull it together. That is who we are as a country. pull it together and let's get her in there. And if you have isms, issues, or concerns, then there is a space and a place to write that down. Talk to, contact whom you need to contact and say, listen, I have these concerns. I have these issues that need to be addressed. And how are you going to address them moving forward? How can I trust you as a vice president? Deal with those things. But this stuff about, the color, the hair, Black enough, not really African American. Her father is a Jamaican. He is African ancestry.
Well, now let me bring this up to you real quick. Somebody said that if you're Jamaican, you're Jamaican. If you're from Barbados, you're from Barbados. We are the only ones that have to identify ourselves as a color, Black American or African American. You get what I'm saying? That people that are from Jamaica, they're Jamaican. You get what I'm saying? People from Puerto Rico, they consider themselves Puerto Rican. We're the only people that have to add something before we identify as our color or as our race.
And one of the reasons why we do that, because we have not been quote unquote accepted as a full people here in our own country that we help to build from where it is now, right? With our Native American brothers, sisters and brothers. Okay. So yes, if you're Jamaican, you're Jamaican. If you're from Barbados, you're from Barbados. If you're Trinidad, you're a Trini. Exactly. But if you're here in this country, you're a Trinidad American, you're a Jamaican American, you're a Barbadian, American, Bahamian American. And yes, you can still go to your island and you can still enjoy it. And once you do, call me because I love to go there too. Okay.
I'm trying to go work from Barbados now. I'm trying to, Barbados is looking for people that want to work remotely. And I figured I could do this wonderful show in Barbados and broadcast every night in a background much like this, but it'd be ocean water behind me. And I broadcast every night from Barbados, and I can help their tourism get back on track. So that's one of my goals. That's one of my
tickets now. Right.
I'll get a lovely little place over there, and I'll just get a thermometer. And when you guys get off the plane, I'll check your temperatures, and we'll just do the doggone thing over in Barbados. So I don't know, but I just want us to stop all the hatred towards each other. And I'm starting to see more and more hatred among our own people. And then let's not add the other races that want to hate on us now more than ever. And then for those haters that have been posting on my page about Black Lives Matter, we're going to address that issue tomorrow night on the show. So don't worry about it. They're not all Black people who think that the behavior that has recently happened in Chicago is acceptable, nor do we want to tolerate that type of mess and foolishness.
Right. No, definitely not. I mean, the things that are happening here in our city, there are layers of reasons, I believe. And those layers need to be addressed, and the ones that we can address directly, we need to address them. But is it condoned? Definitely not. We don't condone the stuff that they're doing because it is our city collectively. But do we need to help? Let's go back to what do we call Pookie? Do we need to be there and see what can we do for our young brothers and our young sisters? Definitely. So people need to, if whoever can, need to be able to reach out to these young sisters and these young brothers who are very disgruntled for various different reasons. Whether it's on their own, some type of substance, or a mental, ability. Regardless of the fact is, we have to still take care of them, and we have to hear what they're saying.
Yes. Right. Our good friend Tracy Woods, he put up a great discussion. How much influence do you think Obama had in Biden's pick? And I think that's interesting to say the least. What do you feel about that? Do you think Obama, because again, Joe Biden was President Obama's vice president. It's no secret that Kamala and Biden had a little a dog biting session during the campaign. So
Right.
what Obama said, to him.
I definitely think he has an influence. He's probably, he's had an influence in helping him strategize throughout this whole campaign, and then definitely helping him select who the VP is. And I know some people will say, well, if he had influence, why didn't he choose Susan Rice, who was on his administration, who was also his friend? But that's the point. We have to look at their backgrounds. We have to look at Susan Rice's political background, and as well as Kamala's, and who would be the person to be the best candidate in this particular position. So he definitely had say so. He talks to him all the time, I'm sure, during this process, and will continue to do so.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, and will continue to do so. I think he had a great, I won't say influence, but he definitely was, he consulted. He gave some consultation to future President Biden. Nominee Biden.
Well, as the election season approaches and more and more campaigning, because keep in mind, campaigning is going to be quite different this year. You'll probably see more social media campaigns. You'll probably see more television shows and interviews, warm and fuzzy type of things, because getting out, pressing flesh, kissing babies, that's not going to happen. That's really not. Rallies, gatherings, things like that are going to be non-existent. And so I think the key to the Biden-Harris ticket will be the Obama wow factor and all of the people that is associated with the Obama wow factor.
Now, what do you mean by the Obama wow factor?
Oprah, celebrities, people that are heavy hitters, people that, that's the Obama wow factor. Having Michelle Obama, her friends, and all of that would be the wow factor of that campaign.
And I hear what you're saying, and that is why media is going to be so, as it is now, it's going to be so important during this campaigning. Social media, the news, because that is what their campaigns are going. That is what is going to drive this election at this time, and for the most part, help determine who will be elected. So right. I definitely agree. Yes.
I agree 100%. Well, I was waiting on our guest to join us, but she's not joined us as of yet. I saw her pop in and pop out. So we'll see. Hopefully she will join us in just a little bit. Is there anything else that we need to talk about per se? I can also tease what's going to be on tomorrow night's show, but I want to see if there's something else you kind of want to talk about.
Well, I'd like to know what were some of the comments or questions in relation to what we're talking about with the VP pick, the Democratic VP pick. And maybe we can address some of those.
The comments that were deleted.
Not the ones that were deleted.
Most of I put them up on the screen. Most people, were with us. Let me see. Marguerite just made a wonderful comment. She said, Sister Susan Rice will definitely have a seat at the table of President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh, I'm sure Stacey Abrams. If nothing else, I really do believe that Joe Biden will probably bring in the younger people, the heavy hitters that would be able to make a difference, because we're living in a world now where I can speak on my behalf, but I'm almost obsolete. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're a young woman, so you don't get that, but I'm an older Black gentleman and I feel obsolete. And so now it's all about the younger opinion. It's all about, what people are thinking differently than what we are thinking.
You are not obsolete, nor will you be anytime soon.
Thanks, Boo. You're an ego booster. Thanks.
I was just saying, what you do is relevant. The platform is relevant. Right. And again, we're going to need more of this type of stuff as we get closer to November and even, afterwards. But definitely between now and November, we're going to need more of this type of platform. Because, yes, the point is that Susan Rice will probably definitely be at the table. Some people, again, some people are saying, oh, she'll be great for a Secretary of State, when we think about her international relationships. And then, yes, you think about some other people are also saying, oh, Cory Booker would be great for, housing, since he did so well in New Jersey, regarding, when he was working there directly and helping out the housing, the housing community there, and living in, choosing to live in one of the housing projects so that he can see what's going on.
Right.
So I definitely think that, some of the people that we saw, on stage with Kamala and Joe, I think that some of those people will be chosen for cabinet seats as well as other seats. And I think that will be really great, because there were a diverse group of people, right?
Tracy posed a really great question here. Tracy said Harris polled higher than any other woman considered. What do Black people think about that? I mean, Kamala did. Her numbers, her approval rating, all of that came up far more higher than any of the other women that were being considered. And as far as name recognition, she definitely does have that name recognition.
Right. She has that name recognition, but also let's think about the fact that she pulled all of her everything together to actually run to be president. So she already had that momentum and that speed, behind her, and everything that she had to do to prepare to even run a campaign to be.
Did you see that damn plant move behind me? Did you see the damn plant move?
Okay.
My set designer about to lose their mind. They want the plants to be seen. But did you see that damn plant? I was like, the plant move.
I was like, I can't anymore. I can't hold it in.
And that's incense smoke, you guys, because smoke just billowed across me too. So I know, like, I'm not smoking, right? Oh God! Wow. Only on this TV show. Only on this TV show. I love it. Yes.
By the way, tell her it's beautiful.
Yes, thank you. My set design about to lose her mind about them plants being seen. Right. Oh, this is so funny. God, dog. Woo, there we go. All right. Boy, that plant just slid behind me. I'm like, how did that happen? Oh boy. For those of you all that are just tuning in, welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. Glad to be here with you guys on a beautiful Wednesday evening here in the Chicagoland area. We've had just all kind of situations going on here in Chicago. As you guys all know, Monday morning, we woke up to just an incredible amount of looting that went on in our downtown and surrounding areas of Chicago. And then God saw fit to bring a storm through our city Monday evening that has caused quite a bit of power outage, down trees, road closures, flooding, you name it. It all happened Monday night. As a result of that, many of us have lost power, internet access. We're praying for everybody who's been affected by this. And here we are. So I am doing my broadcast tonight from a good friend's backyard who is very critical about her beautiful flowers being seen in the background. And so the plant behind me just kind of moved magically a minute ago. And so not only did it scare the daylights out of me, I'm sure it scared a lot of you all watching the show tonight. Alicia L. Ross is my very special guest co-host tonight. We just love and adore her. She's on her way to getting her doctorate in education. She's a master researcher. She's a great educator, but she's become a great co-host as well too. And so tonight we've been talking about the historical moment of the first Black woman and the first woman of Asian descent being elected as president or vice president of the United States of America. And so we're happy. Kamala Harris, she's running under the Biden-Harris ticket. And so I don't know. What else can we say before we go on to our next guest?
My thing in conclusion regarding this topic Um, as far as the Black women, we don't need to focus on anything that is not relevant to who she is as a person. And if you have concerns or issues regarding her record, when she was in California, do more research, I will say, and then also say something. There are places and spaces where you can actually share your concerns, so that at some point people on her campaign will hear you, and she will have to address them, during her campaigning. The other thing is, I'm grateful. I mean, she is someone who, and I'm not saying I agree with everything either, because that's not even logical to agree with every single thing with either she nor Biden are bringing to the table. But I'm also glad to see a woman, a Black woman, a Jamaican woman, and an East Indian woman, to represent all of those different facets within our society, because we are a mixed group of people in this country, and we have been from the very beginning. And so, like with even the Native American sisters and brothers when they were here, and therefore some of the African sisters and brothers that were here before they were actually stolen and brought here. But that's another story. But we have been building up to this. This is who we are. We're a country of various different backgrounds, colors, ethnicities, races, and we will continue to be. And that is who she represents. In addition to the fact, and overall, the fact that she does have the steam to move forward, to end the campaigning. She had the education. Her parents, she was instilled with this, right? Both her parents were educators. They both had their doctorates.
Not just average educators, but I mean major educators.
Major educators. Her mom, obtained her doctorate at Berkeley, and so did her father. So she's been trained in this arena for a while. But the fact of the matter is that they were grassroots people who were fighting for justice, as she specifies. And even if you look at some of the clips that, her uncle, one of her mother's brothers in India, is saying, her mother has always been someone who is fight for the rights of herself and other people. So this is the fabric of who she is, no matter what her specific background is. And the fact of the matter is, she comes from varying backgrounds, and we need to, those of us who are Democrats, those of us who are looking for something positive, I think this is something that's positive. Perfect? No, none of them are perfect.
All right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We have our next guest coming up in just a few moments. Coming up on tomorrow night's show, it's our Thursday show. Tomorrow night, we're getting a lot of feedback. Tomorrow night, we'll be talking about Black Lives Matter, and do all Black think that Black Lives Matter means the same to everybody? So we'll figure that out. And then recently, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion released a song that's entitled WAP. And that's all I'm going to say. You guys can do your research. Well, a lot of people have been in an uproar about WAP. And so tomorrow night, we're going to talk about the history of music and how suggestive music and song has been a part of the fabric of America for a number of years. I don't know if, Cardi's song and not Cardi, who is it? No, it is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. So make sure you show up with your WAP tomorrow night and be ready to talk to us about that and Black Lives Matter. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:00. All right, our next guest this evening is a Chicago woman who's a dedicated educator. But for the past 3 years, she has been assisting her daughter, who is a 2020 college graduate from Chicago Public High School. And they have gone through the gamut of trying to apply for school. What does it take to get financial aid? All of those great things. And she was just here a second ago, and now she's popped out again. All right, so we might have to go and continue to keep talking. This is of interest to you, being an educator, just trying to figure out the process of how people have been applying for school and what do they need to do. It's not very easy. You know, back when I was going off to school, you applied for those grants and that financial aid, but now you've got to do a lot of work to be able to get this going, correct?
Right. We have to do a lot of work. And there are more grants that are now available, but we
Mhm.
have to research that information. What first needs to happen is, the high school counselors, they would do good diligence if they were to research and have this information readily available. But I know some of them do not, and also that depends on the communities, right?
Right.
Um, but they have to have those resources available for students because there are lots of scholarships, there are a lot of grants, and no, you don't have to have a 4.0 GPA,
Right.
all of them, right? So there are funding resources that are available for students. There are programs that will take in students and help them financially, and then also have them be a part of, the various different programs that are doing, for example, the STEM program or and the STEAM program. So there are all kinds of resources out there. But yes, because there are a lot, then therefore there's a lot of research that has to be done. And I'm sure Ms. Holmes has been doing all of that, and it sounds wonderful. But we have to, there has to be a place and space where people can actually go.
Okay, well, let's pop her in and get her advice firsthand and see what she actually did to make all of this happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Real Chat Daddy Show, Miss Elisa Coleman. Hello, how are you tonight? Are you there? Is she there? Can you hear me? Are you there? Hello? Hello, hello. Hi, are you there? Hello? I'm talking to you. Okay, so I guess she's not there. It said she's here, but we have nothing. Hello, is your camera on? Hello, hello, hello.
I
Uh,
saw it. Thing.
hey, are you there? Okay. Well, all right. We're gonna have to just scrap this segment for tonight. Boy, all right. It's been a long day for me.
It's
Uh,
a lot.
Well, in closing tonight, we'll have to bring this segment back to you guys again at another time. I apologize. Let's see if she will pop up again. Um, let's see. Is she ready now? Hi, are you there? Hey, no. All right, just her name, but nothing else.
Hi, Ms. Holman.
I know. I was dying to hear this information because I thought it was so pertinent. Hey, are you there? Hello, hello, hello.
Maybe she's had those internet problems also with.
Oh, I don't know. It could be. Let me see if I can get her. Um,
But yeah, there are all kinds of resources out there. And then sometimes it's a matter of asking not just your high school counselor, but the college counselor as well, the college advisor, where the students are
uh-oh,
looking.
wait. We had her. Uh-oh. Hi, can you hear us? Hello? Can you
Hi,
hear
Ms.
me? Hello? Hello? Hey, can you hear us?
Hey, I can't see you guys, but I think I'm on now.
All right, we see you. You're froze, and we can hear you clearly. Can you hear us? Hi. Hello?
Can see you.
Well, we have a full screen of her. Hello, hello, hello. All right, we'll reschedule this. Hi. Hey. All right, we'll reschedule her interview. Let's just close out with tonight's show. This has actually been a great show. You've done an outstanding job this evening. You really have. In closing, what do you want to say to everybody?
In closing, I there's so much going on. First, I'll talk about the COVID as Art mentioned and showed us. Please, please, please continue to wear masks. Wash your hands, use sanitizer. I even use spray when I'm coming in from a crowded place or facility. I'll use disinfectant spray and just, from a distance, kind of spray myself. But we're still going to family gatherings because some of them we have to. But we need to continue to take the steps that we need to do to protect ourselves as well as our loved ones when we're doing that. But as far as the hot topic of the night with our the VP pick, the Democratic VP pick, Kamala Harris, research who she is, what she has done. Do not take your Facebook postings for word, or your Twitter or your Instagram. Just do your own research and you'll know more of who she is if you're someone that is considering voting for this ticket. You should always do your research. Research Joe Biden as well. And then be careful about judging and and declaring that she is someone that is not for the people of color or not for the Black community. When you do your research, you'll find what her background is, that she grew up in Oakland. Her mother, when she was divorced from her husband, stayed in a Black community. Their mother took them to a Black church. She participated, went to Black schools. I mean, for those of you who are thinking about this Black, is she Black enough? Well, this is how she grew up. And her mother was East Indian, and she still traveled home to her mother's hometown. And I think it's Tamil and Nadu in India. So it's all of that. She is all of that, meaning she is full of those backgrounds and she embraces it. And we need to embrace her for who she is as a person, whether you are voting for her or not. That's who she is as a person.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, you've done a great job. Will you come back and hang out with me again, my friend?
I would love to hang out with you again, sir.
Yeah, you do a great job always. You do a fabulous job. I appreciate you so much. Sylvia Holloway, I miss you, Sylvia. Sylvia's got to come on. Sylvia is a master organizer. She helps people organize their life. She's the Black version of Marie Kondo.
Wow.
Yes.
I need to meet her.
Oh, I need to. I don't want her to come in. I don't want her to come in because I already know what she's going to do. She's going to tell me to throw half of my life away, and I'm going to have to probably put it in a chokehold. That's why. That's why. Sylvia Holloway, I love you. Get in touch with Chat Daddy, but I'm probably going to put it in a chokehold, child. I'm probably going to be like, God, no, I can't get rid of that. I can't get rid of that. No, I cannot. All right. Well, on behalf of my amazing co-host tonight, Alicia L. Ross, soon to be Dr. Alicia L. Ross, thank you guys so very much. Don't forget to go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button. The more you subscribe, the more people who follow the show, the better it'll help the show. As well as if you go over to Facebook, all you have to do is go to the Real Chat Daddy Show on Facebook, subscribe there as well too. My website is therealchatdaddy.com. Easy, simple. Help me out. Do what you can. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Everybody saying they enjoyed tonight's show. Thank you, Janice Knox. I got to get Janice Knox on one night too. She's a walking encyclopedia of Chicago history, and we need to talk about the good old days of Chicago history. Tracy Woods, we appreciate you tonight, Tracy. You really have been wonderful. We do appreciate you so much. Oh, here's another great show tonight. Oh, I appreciate you guys. All right, on behalf of Alicia L. Ross and yours truly, our Chat Daddy Sims, I'm going to sign off tonight. Unfortunately, we'll have to rebook our guests because we have to close out tonight's show, but we will talk to you guys in the near future. Have a great night. We love you guys. Bye. See you later. Alicia, hold on one second.